Hello and welcome back to week 5 of our online tutorial videos. My name is Chris and with me today is my co-host
Anna.
Today I'm going to show you how to make a slab built, what I call a box shape, which you'll see. It's going to be round and it's going to have a lid. So Anna and I are going to take you through this. So Anna, what I'd first like you to do is we first need to take our clay and get it flattened out. Why don't we go ahead and cut off about, maybe half of this. Great. Now, if you watched our coil building video, we built the base out of a slab. And so if you haven't seen that, make sure you tune into that. That's a great one as well. But the first thing we need to do is start the process of flattening this piece of clay out. And the first thing I do is I take the base of my palm or the heel of my hand and I push down like so. Flip it around, push down, and push down. You can do it a little bit more, just like that. So see, we're starting to get this thing flattened out. Now the next thing we're going to do is use our rolling pin. The rolling pin is going to use to flatten it out further. So Anna, I'm going to show you how to do this. You're just going to take your rolling pin and start to stretch it out in all different directions. And we want to get it to where it's maybe a little less than 1/4 inch thick. Maybe like 3/16, if anybody can think of what that size is on their own. So Anna, why don't you go ahead and start to flatten this clay out. Notice she's rolling and she's not doing too much in one area at once. She does it a few times, flips it around, maybe flips it to the other side, and keeps on rolling. Okay, so Anna has her nice flat piece of clay. I would caution you, so no thinner than maybe like 1/8 of an inch, and no thicker than probably 1/4 of an inch, depending on how big it is. The bigger it is, the thicker you'll want it to be. The smaller it is, the thinner you will want it to be. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our base shape. We're going to make a round shape, and to cut out the template, we're just going to use this old sour cream container. And so when we cut this out, we want to be able to use as much of the slab as possible for building later on. So I don't want to do this right in the middle because then we would have a bunch of wasted clay on the outside. So we're going to put this all the way in this far corner as far as we can. And then we are going to use our needle tool. If you don't have a needle tool, you can use a kitchen knife. And we're just going to cut this all the way around. So Anna, why don't you cut this all the way around? And cut with the needle tool, cut straight up and down. There you go. Notice she's going very slowly and carefully, trying to get it exactly all the way around the cup. Wonderful. Now she can remove this if it sticks to that. She can remove this, and now we have our base shape. Now what we're going to do is we are going to cut out the shape of the walls. Now preferably, we would have one long strip that goes all the way around. When you're handling your clay slabs, it's very important that you're very gentle with it. It's clay, so everything you do to it changes the shape a little bit because it's very soft. So I tell students, this is clay, not a football. You can't handle it like a football, tossing it around, throwing it on the table, doing exactly that without it changing and ruining the shape. A straight edge, a ruler will work, or this triangle will work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to place it on here. And cut it perfectly straight. Move it a little bit up because I couldn't get the top. The straight edge wasn't long enough. And I'm going to remove this clay here. And so you can see I have one edge that's nice and straight. So Anna's going to do the other edge. Anna, why don't you line this up right about here. And go ahead and slice. And when you get to the end, don't go all the way to the end because you don't have a straight edge. And then move the tool. So you want to line this right up there, all the way to your line. Okay, cut that last little bit. Okay, we can remove this, and now we have a slab for our wall. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut these edges off so that they're straight as well. And so now we have a rectangle here that should go all the way around this piece. Let's see if it makes it. And it does. And there's a little bit extra here on the end you can see, which will be good. So now what we're going to do is start the attaching process. So just like with the coil building, we need to rough up everywhere where the two pieces are going to attach. In this case, it's going to be all along the sides here, and then along this strip here, because this is going to attach to the base. Now again, just like the coil building, notice we're not placing the slab on placing the walls on top of the slab, we are placing it around. So that's important. It's much easier to go around than stick it right on top. So Anna, why don't you take our tool and rough up the edge. Okay, and then she's going to rough up here, so you can just do a strip right across here. Go a little higher up. Wonderful. So you can see here, she's roughed up the base of the slab, and then she's roughed up the bottom of the rectangular slab there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take just a little bit of water and wet the walls of the piece. So I'm going to take just a little bit of water over here. Remember, I have my water bowl, and I'm just going to put just a little bit all along here. And that's going to help this attach. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lift this up here and place it around just like so. And we're going to get to the point where I have a little bit of tail, and I'm going to cut that little bit of extra off. Use my needle tool here and cut that off right there. Don't cut too much, otherwise it'll be too short. So now we have cut off our extra clay, and we have this lined up about perfectly. And you see how these are going to go together just like this. Now what we can do is I can wrap this around just like so and stick them together. Now you can rough this up and wet it, but it really is the same piece of clay, so it might not be necessary. I did not do that here. And then what I'm going to do is just gently pinch them together ever so slightly and very gently. I don't want to distort the form too much. Now I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to start to work the walls onto the base slab. So you can see that there. And one thing that will help that is if I take my finger and get it a little bit wet and kind of gently rub it on here like so. And the water just serves as lubrication so your finger slides nice and even. So Anna, can you see how I'm doing that? So why don't you get your finger wet and do that for a little while, all the way around the base. Okay, so we got the outside of the base attached. It looks pretty good. And now we're gonna work on this seam a little bit. We still have a seam, I pinched it over, but now what we can do is take our smearing tool or your fork if you are using that tool from home, and you can gently smear over this, just like we did with the coils, but be much more gentle with it. See how I'm doing that? And I'm getting rid of that seam. I'm gonna do it just gently on top. And then I'm also gonna do it on the inside because there's an inside seam. So Anna, why don't you take care of that? Wonderful. So she's smeared that seam together there. If you can see, it's hard to see. You don't really see the seam anymore. And she's also done it to the inside right along here. So now, the last thing we're going to do before this piece needs to set up and dry to go to the next steps is we need to do the seam all along the bottom right in here. So this is very tricky. I'm going to try to show you guys how this is done. But I'm going to take my tool here and I'm just going to smear gently and carefully without gouging it too much, all the way along that inside seam, smearing the wall. Anna, can you see how I'm doing this? Smearing the wall onto the slab. So Anna, why don't you take care of that? This is pretty intricate work, so you got to be very careful and work very slowly. Clay will build up on your tool, so every once in a while you'll need to wipe that off, just like Anna did. Okay, so now we are done for today. This piece is very wet and very fragile. If you look at it, it does not hold its form very well, so it needs to stiffen up before we can go on to the next steps. But to review our progress for today, the important takeaways is when attaching the slab walls to the slab base, you need to wrap this piece around and you need to join the seam right here. From there, you're going to get your finger wet and slide it along the bottom ever so gently and go around it several times. And that's going to push the walls of the piece onto the base and make them really stiff. And you're also going to smear the seam together on the inside and the outside. You can use your finger or you can use your smearing tool or your fork, whichever one you prefer, which one you have at home. Then from there, you also need to do the seam on the inside. Anna did some very intricate work right in there, all along there, to make sure that that was all together and there was no cracks. It's important to do these because slab built pottery is really prone to getting cracks and the seams coming apart as your piece dries and fires. So spend some good amount of time doing this. So join us next week. We are going to add the top to this and make the lid to it as well. And then we're going to do, just like with the coil pot, we're going to do a lot of refining and make this shape really nice and smooth and even and looking really good. So we'll see you then. If you have questions, email me. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.